2022 was a wild year for Louisville. The Cardinals started a disappointing 2-3, but finished the year on a 6-2 run with a bowl win over Cincinnati to finish at 8-5. But Scott Satterfield surprised a lot of people by leaving Louisville for Cincinnati, and now Jeff Brom is the new head coach at Louisville, returning to his alma mater. And the Cardinals will be a lot better than you think in 2023. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. We're so glad that you could join us today, ready to break down everything you know about the Louisville Cardinals. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country, guys, beating out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years. So if you want a guaranteed winning record, guaranteed profits right back in your pocket, guaranteed best customer service that any handicapper in the country can give you, this is the place for you. It's one of the lowest prices in the country for some of the best picks in the country, and we want you to take advantage of it. Go sign up for those today. Check out our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round. Become a member of our Patreon Wall of Fame, and send us some gear. Check out our mailing address down in the description below. Send us some Louisville gear or whoever your team may be so we can represent them in every single Gridiron Expert video and continue to expand our GE Nation and continue to expand our background with more teams. We love getting the helmets, love getting the pennants. We love to represent more teams across the country. So let's take a look at Louisville, guys. I love the Jeff Brom hire, right? Coming over from Purdue, where he had a pretty successful stint with the Boilermakers, won the Big Ten West last year. Brom, of course, was playing quarterback at Louisville from 1989 to 1993, so definitely a big homecoming for him and a phenomenal one at that. When you look at what the Cardinals have this year, they've got a lot of talent to maybe surprise some people in the ACC. This is not your typical new coaching situation. You know, Louisville did not fire Scott Satterfield. They are not losing a lot of people. They bring in a proven head coach that's not having to deal with a major rebuild. He's looking to keep running, to continue that success. And I think he will. Offensively, this feels like an offense kind of built around transfers, right? Malik Cunningham is gone, so their dangerous dual threat QB is gone, but Jack Plummer is in. Plummer began his career with Jeff Brom at Purdue, didn't really win the starting job there, Aiden O'Connell ultimately beating him out. Plummer last year was the starting quarterback at California, where he threw for over 3,000 yards and 21 touchdowns. So a pretty successful stint with the Golden Bears, considering he had no offensive line last year whatsoever. Now he comes in, knows Jeff Brom, knows his system. The Cardinals also bring in Gerard Jordan at running back, had 815 yards last year with Louisville. Kevin Coleman transfers in at wide receiver from Jackson State, and so does Jamari Thrash, transferring in from Georgia State. This offense, guys, averaged 26.9 points per game and 201 rushing yards per game. It's going to go through a little bit of growing pains, though. This is a completely different system than what Louisville had been running last year and really the years prior under Scott Satterfield. Not going to be running the ball nearly as much, maybe not as effective, but the passing game should take a major leap forward after averaging 206 passing yards per game last year. Defensively, 7 starters are back after one of the best in the conference. 19.2 points per game, 197 passing yards per game. That's all Louisville was giving up. They do lose 3 of their top 4 tacklers, so that's a huge blow for this team. They also lose 33.5 of the 50 sacks that Louisville put up last year. Another huge blow, but this is still very, very talented. Very, very talented defense. Jarvis Brownlee returns in the secondary. You've got Stephen Herron transferring in from Stanford on that defensive line to continue to bulk up that front line there. The only concern for me, Louisville defensively, is their linebacking core. What's going to happen in that middle of the defense? Defensive line solid, secondary looks solid. What about the linebacking core in that second level? That's what we have to be a little bit concerned about. But other than that, Louisville looks solid on both sides of the ball, and they've got a schedule to do some damage. Okay, I'm going to tell you what, the first 4 games are a breeze. I think Louisville starts 4-0. Shouldn't have much of an issue against Georgia Tech, also dealing with a new head coach in Brent Key. This game, of course, in Atlanta. So not at Georgia Tech, but practically at Georgia Tech. But regardless, Louisville is the better team. It's going to be a battle between Georgia Tech's offensive line, Louisville's defensive line. I have more faith in Louisville and their defense than I have Georgia Tech, and an offense that definitely will be going through some growing pains with a lot of transfers and a new coach. So Louisville gets the win there. No issue against Murray State. No issue against Indiana and Indianapolis, although I think it's an intriguing game considering Jeff Brom came from Purdue and Indiana, huge rivals, and Brom going 4-1 against the Hoosiers during his time with the Boilermakers. So 3-0 there. Then they beat Boston College Some will say, how are you going to have them picking Boston College so quickly when they lost last year? Last year, I'm not saying it was a fluke, but it was weird. Louisville was a 13.5-point favorite, and they fell to the Eagles 34-33, allowing 448 yards of offense, 304 of which came through the air. It was a weird game. It was one that I felt like Louisville wasn't really up for, kind of slept walk, wasn't away. Boston College won it more. This year, that's different. Jeff Brom does not allow that to happen to his teams. Won't allow that to happen to Louisville. Boston College will be better than they were last year, 3-9 last season. A lot of injuries, a lot of question marks there, but the defense is the major concern for me. Boston College was horrible at stopping the run, so we said, hey, Louisville might not run the ball as much. Maybe they'd run it quite a bit against the Eagles, who allowed nearly 170 rushing yards per game last year. So Louisville at home beats Boston College, and then the schedule gets tough. 4-0 start, 2 away from bowl eligibility, but we're focused on what's coming up next, and that's at NC State. That's not an easy place to play. That's not a bad team, even though Louisville did win by 15 points last year. They took down the Wolfpack 25-10, had 192 rushing yards to just 153 passing yards, also won the turnover battle, and had 5 sacks in the game. So, I mean, pretty impressive. 10% of your sacks coming in one game against the Wolfpack. But I don't think they're going to, again, as I mentioned, not going to have much success against NC State this time around. I think they do drop the game to Dave Doran and his squad. 5 starters back on defense, 7 starters back on offense, including a transfer quarterback in Brennan Armstrong. If he returns to form, if he returns to the Brennan Armstrong we saw at Virginia back in like 2020, 2021, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. And this NC State offense will be pretty solid as compared to they were last year, thanks to dealing with so many injuries. Again, I think the defense is the biggest decision maker in this game. NC State has one that can match Louisville's, maybe might be a little bit better. They've got home field advantage. I like the Wolfpack to get the win there. And I actually think Louisville loses their next 2 games against Notre Dame and Pittsburgh. Again, a brutal 3-game stretch there where if the Cardinals can win just one of those, would be a very successful stretch. But I just don't see that happen. I don't see them beating Notre Dame, who now will be led by Sam Hartman. Granted, I know, Sam Hartman played horribly against Louisville last year. The Cardinals destroyed Wake Forest. Sam Hartman was sacked 8 times in that game. Louisville finished a +7 in the turnover margin in that game against the Demon Deacons, who at the time were ranked 10th in the nation. But Sam Hartman's got a much better offensive line now, got a lot more talent surrounding him. He's got a phenomenal defense in Notre Dame that will be able to slow down this Louisville offense. Yes, the Cardinals get to host, but Notre Dame is a true college football playoff contender, and I just don't think Louisville has the talent nor the speed nor the continuity to find a way to win this game. They fall to the Fighting Irish, and I do think they fall on the road to Pittsburgh, who they also beat last year. Kind of interesting. They beat Pittsburgh last year 24-10, but now they're facing a Panthers team that is now at home, is coming off a bye week, has a solid quarterback in Phil Jurkovec if he can stay healthy, and a defense that's always strong. Allowed just 98 rushing yards per game last year. The secondary, arguably the strength of Pittsburgh's defense this year. Will Louisville find enough success through the air to beat Pittsburgh and exploit that secondary? I'm going to say no. So they lose 3 straight games after a very promising 4-0 start, 4-3 coming out of the bye week, but then look at the next 3 games. All at home. 4 of their final 5 games are at home. That's huge for Louisville, no doubt about it. And their next 3 games are all very, very winnable. And I believe that's exactly what happens. I think they win their next 3 games. So 4-0 to 4-3 to 7-3. They should beat Duke coming out of the bye week. And again, I think that's huge. I think that week of rest and a chance to regroup after a 3-game losing streak gives your team an opportunity to hit the reset button, to get rested up, to playing 7 straight games. It's a tough thing to do. And recognize a sense of urgency, saying, hey, we're finally back at home. We got to win. We got to stop the bleeding. And I think they do against a Duke team that's only the 3rd meeting in conference play between these 2 teams, which is very, very interesting to me. But Duke's coming off a brutal road game at Florida State, might be a little beat up from their game against the Seminoles. Louisville, well rested. Defensively, I give the slight edge to Louisville. Offensively, I'd probably give the edge to Duke with 10 starters back. They're very underrated. But with home field advantage, I think Louisville pulls off this win. It could be a very similar game where you might say Duke's winning, no doubt about it. You know, and you kind of look at it and say, well, this could be like the Pittsburgh game from last year where Louisville somehow managed a way to win. Or the NC State game last year where Louisville somehow managed a game to win. They're going to win this game. I feel very, very confident about that. So they beat Duke. And then Virginia Tech and Virginia, I feel very confident about both of those as well. Neither team going to be one of the ACC elites this year. The Hokies having to come to Louisville on a Thursday night. So obviously that's the Virginia game. The Virginia Tech game going to be a little bit more difficult on that Saturday. But regardless, the Hokies don't have the offense to get anything going against this Louisville defense. That's not going to happen, right? I mean, the Hokies still have quarterback questions. Kyron Drones transferring in from Baylor. Will he live up to the expectations? Will they have to go back to Grant Wells? Can they get anything going from a horrendous offense last year? I think it improved, but not nearly enough against this stingy of a defense. At home, Louisville wins. And then the Thursday night game against Virginia, no doubt about that one, a no-brainer. Virginia arguably the worst team in the ACC this year. Louisville won 34-17 last year. Should win around that same margin again this year. So they've got 7 wins. They've clinched a winning season in year 1 under Jeff Brom. 2 games left at Miami and Kentucky. Not easy games at all. I think they dropped the game at Miami. And they lose to Miami, a Miami team that returns 19 starters, had a great offense coming back if they can put it all together and stay healthy. Miami was a team that was, kind of like Boston College, riddled by injuries last year. Inconsistency and injuries is what cost Miami, not a big season, but at least a bowl game in year 1 under Mario Cristobal. Miami, to me, owns the offensive edge majorly in this game. They've got the home field advantage edge, which, take with that as you will, Miami doesn't really have much of one there. And the defense for the Hurricanes just take a step forward to where the gap between Louisville and Miami isn't that wide defensively. I feel very confident in picking the Hurricanes here. They get the win. And then Louisville and Kentucky, rivalry game, one that Louisville used to dominate, but now the tides have turned a little bit. And I'm going to have to go with Kentucky. Louisville has lost 4 straight games to the Wildcats. They lost 26-13 last year. All 4 of the previous meetings have been decided by double digits, all in favor of the Wildcats. Devin Leary now steps in at quarterback for Kentucky, giving them a major quarterback upgrade over Will Levis. 10 starters back on offense for Kentucky should be able to challenge this Louisville defense. And Kentucky's defense, always extremely strong. 5 starters back on that side of the ball. Only gave up 171 passing yards per game. We know Jack Plummer and Jeff Brom are going to want to air it out. Kentucky secondary is going to know that as well. They're going to slow that down. Yes, the game is at home, but I don't see that streak to the Wildcats coming to an end this year. The Wildcats own the edge. They've proven it time and time again. And I think it's close, closer than double digits, but Kentucky still gets the win. And I don't have a doubt about that either. So Jeff Brom in his first year back at his alma mater leads Louisville to a 7-5 record, which is exactly what their record was last year before the bowl game. 7-5 record, won their bowl game, clinched 8 wins. That would be a very successful season, all things considered. First-year head coach coming into your program, and he leads you to a winning record, a solid bowl game, and a shot at another 8-win season, back-to-back 8-win seasons. Many people are thinking they might go 8-4. If you believe that's going to be the case, maybe they do beat Miami, maybe they do beat Kentucky. I really don't see them winning any of those 3 games against NC State, Notre Dame, or Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh would be the most likely one. Still don't see that happening on the road. So maybe Miami, maybe Kentucky. 8-4, the ceiling for Louisville this year in my eyes. I don't see them exceeding that. But regardless, this team will finish with a winning record. This team will go to a solid bowl game. And Jeff Brom's going to come in here, lay a solid foundation, and he's just going to keep building. And next year, watch out, because the Cardinals could be a big-time surprise team in the ACC. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks. Don't want to miss out on those. Again, some of the best picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country for a full year-long subscription. Our Patreon account, do not want to miss out on that exclusive college football content year-round. And, of course, send us some gear to our mailing address down in the description below. Would love to get some Louisville gear, whoever your team may be. Send it to that mailing address so we can represent your team in every single Gridiron Expert video. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.